Okay, so it's been a week since we were last here at Steve's job. We've got a few things to do here today, and then we're going to head over to Farmer Britain's Best Lawn, give that a cut, and then head over to the Posh job and see how that is coming along. So let's get to it because we've got a busy day on. All right, so it's 3 weeks since we did the renovations here. If we just take a look at it back then, how it looked to how it looks now. Last week, you know, we put the equilibrium on. I've done nothing else but cut this week. It's been cut 2 times with a rotary and 3 times with a cylinder. Sometimes I've gone over with the rotary first just to take away the excess, like today, and then I've just gone over with the Allet Sterling. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be putting on our slow grow. This is just so when we are cutting, we're still going to be cutting the same amount of time, but we're going to be taking less foliage off so the lawn thickens up even more than it already is doing. So let's get on with that. And look at that, not much to it at all. You've seen what I've done and you can have this. All right, so I'm ready to go on with my slow grow. So we have to mix that in with Dan's Magic, because what slow grow is, it's not a plant growth regulator, it's a sugar mover. With a plant growth regulator, what that does, it controls something called gyrabilic acid, and that's a cell elongator, and it stops that from producing gyrabilic acid. So it keeps the foliage nice and tight, whereas my slow grow is a sugar mover. So what happens is, as that works, it can draw nitrogen from the leaf. So we have to have backup in there, like I said in my last video. If you go out on a run and you top up with carbs, but as your carbs run low, you start running out, so your performance starts to degrade. So what you do is you have a bottle of Lucozade, loads of sugar in it to create a bridge between the two so that you have top up, and that's what we're doing. So what happens is it moves the sugar from the leaf so we don't get that top growth, but what it does is it sends that energy further down, so we've got a better root system, which is going to give us more access to nutrients in the soil. It's going to give us a real thick sward. So it's not a plant growth regulator like some think, it's a sugar mover. So let's spray it on and then we'll have a check in a couple of weeks, see how it's worked. All right, so that's that sprayed on. What do we need to do now? We just need to let that sit on the leaf. It's going to rain tomorrow and sort that out. It's going to wash that through, what remains of it, but really we just want it to sit on the leaf, let that take in. The rest will get washed through and get taken up by the roots. So let's go over to this side and let's see how this side is looking after 7 days and a deluge in the week. All right, so we've just been over that side as you've just seen. Now it's time to cast our eye over this side. So it's 7 days since we scarified, overseeded and top dressed this side and filled in some weed grass patches over there with some mixed topsoil and field compost number 4. So we've seeded those, and in the week we have had an absolute downpour of rain, but none of it has moved because we did a good job with the H2Go wetting agent pre-wetting that soil. So when it rained, it was just able to permeate straight through and not run off like a few years ago when we seeded that over there and the heavy rain came and it just washed it all into the rods. We've had none of that this year, to my surprise actually, to show you how good a job that wetting agent actually does in keeping the soil wet in the week. So what I'm going to do is today, I'm going to cast our eye over closer, see what it's looking like, and then we're going to have to mow it, I think, because the rest of the lawn is growing and the seed is coming through, so we don't want to lose the old lawn just to protect the new seed. So we can do that and then get on with our products. And today we're going to talk about individualizing the dose for your lawn. So not necessarily do what I do, but just tailor make it to what we need for each lawn. So we're going to call that individualize the dose. All right, so just have a closer look. So because it's been so wet, the temperatures have dropped, but we have seed coming through. The temperatures are 14 degrees at the moment. So that is like 4 degrees more than what grass grows at. And all that heat that had built up in the soil has just been washed away with the cold rain, but we still have the growth. So if you have a look at this patch here, nothing's run out, and we would know if it had because it would all be in this border. So we've got germination in there. We've got germination in there. We've got germination in there. I think the neighbour has stood on that when they're getting out of the car, but we can forgive them for that. Seed going through that one. Bit of damage with these ferns. So what we'll do is we'll just whip those out now. Over here, everywhere's growing. And as we can see, the old lawn is coming through as well. So I had a bit of a kick from a feed from the field compost. But all these patches are looking really good, which is great considering all that rain we've had. So yeah, so we'll get the hater out, and what we'll do is we'll give it a cut, but we'll just push and pull so we're not doing any damage when we're turning. And You can see there, I've got the alyssum on this side as well. Alright, so I know what you're thinking, the new seed isn't ready for a mower rolling over it. It'll be absolutely fine. We've got to look after the old lawn as well, but what we're not going to do is we're not going to mow over the patches where we've just filled in those, because those are too soft, so we won't be touching those. We'll just navigate our way around them, but everywhere else, go on at number 2 on this lawn, pushing and pulling, and what that's going to do is it's going to cut the original lawn, but also it's going to pick up all this debris from the willow that's fallen during the high winds when it was raining. So we'll get that done, and then we can get on with our products, but it's going to be difficult because we're not going to have any guidelines. So I'm going to do a neat little trick just to ensure that we can get even coverage all over. So I'll show you that in a bit, but for now we're getting on with the mowing. Alright, so that's the hair to cut done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you over there. I did cut over one of the patches that we'd done, but that was because the patch is smaller than the width of the mower, so I was able to use the lawn as a kind of stop from me sinking into that new soil. But what I wanted to do was just show you how I've not damaged the new seed, even though I've been over it with the mower. Even though it was cutting as well, there's no damage. So I was going to look at that, and I can put your mind at rest that as long as you're not turning your mower and ripping it, you're not going to do any damage. Alright, so there you go. The grass is still intact, no problem at all. Yes, if your mower was smaller than this gap and you was to go in and start turning, you would do damage. You'd probably rip it out of the ground, but just going over it back and forth is doing no harm whatsoever. Alright, so we're ready to go on with our products. Now, like I said before, we're going to individualize the dose. What we don't want to do on that lawn, because that seed hasn't quite come through yet, we don't want to be putting any nitrogen on the lawn because we don't want that grass to grow, so we're having to go on and mow that existing lawn before that seed comes through. So in order for us to do that, we're not going to put any on. There's 0.5% in there, so that is like trace, but there's nothing else in any of these products. These are all designed for root development, so that's why we're putting these on. For getting top growth, all we're on about is root development, so that when we mow it, we're not ripping out those seedlings. So what we're going to do is just going to go with the normal 500 metre range here, so it's 2 mil per square metre. So now that's 125, so we need 250 of this. These are all 500s. So I'm just going to mix them all together to get the right dose. So just because I've done it in one video where I've gone on with everything, we're going to individualize it to each job, and then we get the best for each job rather than just doing what I do all the time at every job. So that's why we're doing that. There you go. So just get that up to 1,000. I've already got some water in here, so that goes straight in. What we don't want to do is put the concentrate direct in the tank, because that then is going to go right down here first, and we're going to get concentrate coming out of the nozzle straight away. So we want to put a bit of water in there, so by the time that feeds down, it's mixed with water. Put it on here, pour it in. Now, my neat little trick that I was telling you earlier, because we've not really got decent guidelines on here, I've got some kind of idea because I did manage to mow back and forth but make it so I had stripes, is I'm going to put double the amount of water in, so I can go left and then do half dose that way and then complete up and down, and then that way we're going to more or less guarantee even distribution of the product. So I know it takes 4 litres to do that lawn, so I need to put 8 litres in there, well, whatever I've already got in there. So I'd already put like a litre or so in, so I've just got the little, I can see the shadow in the side of the sprayer, and we'll just get that up to 8. There we are, 8 litres, so I can spray that way and up and down, and we'll get decent coverage all over. Because it's not nitrogen in there, if we did miss a little bit, lo and behold, I should do that, it's not going to really show because there's nothing that's going to give us a nice green colour in there, so we'll get away with it. hopefully. But then when we put the Dan's Magic on, then we have to be more accurate because it would show if we'd missed. So we've got all this mixed together. All we need to do now is agitate. That's the scientific word, is agitate, or mix together. And that is how we individualise our dose. Alright, so that's the products on. We'll let that get rained in tomorrow. It's supposed to rain all day. So what I like is that orbit to sit on the leaf for an hour or two and then get it washed in, but that's going to be taken care of us for tomorrow by the weather. So hopefully in 2 weeks it'll look like this one. Alright, we're back at former Britain's best lawn. If you remember, 2 weeks ago we came and we put on our 1855 NPK fertiliser called Equilibrium. Well, what we're going to do today is we're just going to get it cut. I'm going to show you how we're progressing. On Saturday I came and I sprayed Slow Grow and Dan's Magic, and that has really helped so far because I've not cut it for a day now. I know you'll laugh, but obviously it was growing like mad. So I've put the Slow Grow on, just really slowed it down and just buying me some time. So when I don't come for 1 day and it gets to 2 days, 3 days, I've not lost control of that grass. So what we're going to do today is just going to cut it left to right with the rotary, up and down with the cylinder, and then when we get some really nice weather we can get it looking great with some galactic and ready for the French TV channel to come and film it. So let's get on with that, and then we'll go on to our other jobs today where we'll get an update from those too. So let's do it. Alright, so that is looking absolutely awesome. So what we'll do now is I'll show you close up what it looks like. Try and get out of the sun for you. Lovely, uniform. What we'll do is now cylinder out, up and down. Let's see how it looks. Alright, so it's just out chucking it down, so I'm just seeking refuge under the hedge, absolutely tonking it down. It's eased off now, but I'm wet through. Okay, so this is the little job, filling up nicely. This is cut at 20mm now. So we're getting that tightness down. We want to get this down to 15 ideally. So if we keep cutting every day, every other day, we can just slowly keep turning down the Alec Sterling height adjuster to what we want. And then every time we come, we're just taking off a smidgen of grass, which is less stress. And then it can just thicken up even more. So yeah, looking excited for this one. Lovely. And then over here, so wet, we've had so much rain. It's a bit squelchy underfoot in places, but this is it from this angle. Looking good. No Brittany today, I'm afraid. She only comes out on blue sky days, and as you can see, not blue sky today. So let's go over to the next job and we'll see how that's getting on. Okay, welcome back to the Posh job. So we're 4 weeks on from doing our renovations and 2 weeks on from taking the covers off. We put the normal Stellar Orbit, Grey Sopro and Dan's Magic on the lawn once we took those off, and then last Monday I came and put our dose of Equilibrium on. Now what we also did on that one was we individualised the dose by choosing a dose that was right for this lawn. We don't want to go hell for leather with fertiliser on this lawn because all them weed grasses will come back and overtake all the grasses that we've put on. So we individualise it on this one with a lower dose. so we don't get all that growth coming and overtaking. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to continue cutting, which is all we're doing at the moment, wait for this equilibrium to kick in. That'll be another week yet. We've not had the temperatures. It's been literally 4 degrees above the temperature what grass grows, so we've not really had much in the way of growth this week here. So what we're going to do today is cut it one way with the rotary and then the other with the cylinder, and just continue that work, thickening up the lawn and trying to stop those weed grasses coming back through. So let's get to it. Alright, so that's the hater cut and the cylinder cut done, and as you can see it's looking really nice now it's been cut. If we just have a look at what it looked like at Christmas when we first came and started the work, we can see how it looks now. Those weed grasses are really on the back foot, and that's just because we've done the work. Keeping it cut short, keeping it maintained is the key to keeping those weed grasses at bay. If we were just to leave this for 2 weeks and then come and cut it, we'd have lost it all. So we're just going to keep coming twice a week. That's all we're doing here, and we'll see what we can get this looking like. So off to the next job. And finally, a little bonus job for you. I know I've not been to Howard's in Chorley for a while with you, so just a quick catch up. The seed has come through lovely. This has had all the liquids on, and today is time to give it an equilibrium dose. So first of all, I just cut it with the cylinder mower. On the back I am on 25mm, but on the front I am 20mm because the front is the dwarf rye and in the back it's the full rye, if you remember. So now it's time for the dose of equilibrium on 29 on the setting on the spreader, and then I go over with its second application of products in the terms of Grace, Stella, Orbit and Dan's Magic. Same again in the front, equilibrium, followed by the same tank mix, Stella, Orbit, Grace and Dan's Magic, and then the rain will water this in and we'll catch up with it in a couple of weeks. Alright, that's this video done and dusted. Hopefully you've enjoyed seeing those two other jobs at Britain's Best Lawn and the Posh job coming along nicely. So if you want to see more lawns being turned around like this, join us next time on Daniel Hibbert Lawn Expert when we will be doing something else lawn related. So take care and we'll see you soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. See you later.